Welcome to the MerryMen podcast, where we have real talk for real men. I'm Daniel Shudamola, and I'm here with my brother Samuel Bameke. Welcome, Samuel Bameke.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, you're welcome. Today we are talking about something every young guy in Lagos is facing, or should we say every young guy in Nigeria, or maybe every young guy in Africa, or in most part of the world is facing, and it is pressure. Pressure to blow, pressure to be rich before 30, pressure from Instagram, pressure from TikTok, pressure from babes. It's like everywhere you turn, there's one standard you're meant to meet. But let's pause. What does success really look like? How do you stay sane in this madness? How do you become not just successful, but whole? How do you become a whole man in all of this? And that's what we're here to unpack today, and trust me, it's going to be great. Alright, without wasting much time, we're just going to dive into the conversation. In Lagos now, we want to talk about what are Lagos guys facing. So Samuel, you know how when we were growing up back in Lagos, we both grew up in Lagos anyways, and now we find ourselves here in the United Kingdom, right? If you, as a flashback at your teenage or say early 20s years growing up in Lagos, what would you say was like one of the major pressure that you really face? Yeah.
Okay, so let's be very honest. As a young man in Lagos, the pressure is really unrelenting. For me, I would start by saying part of the pressure is the pressure to make money fast, the pressure to blow before 30. You already you've set out the plan that before 30 is what I want to achieve. Pressure to blow before 30. Then also to sort of have your life really planned out at a certain point in time. You want to have this kind of car, you want to have this kind of babe, then the pressure to just live a perfect, a perfect lifestyle sort of. And if you're not yet there, it feels like you're already behind, right? Yeah, I feel like you're already behind. But what no one's really talk about is the anxiety, the fear, the shame of not measuring up, right? You see your guys doing well, you see everyone doing well around you. So that shame and that anxiety of not measuring up is a very big issue for young men. Every day, we are bombarded with standards that were never designed with our peace of mind, right? So, of course, yeah. But the real truth is, real success isn't defined by that. It's not defined by Instagram likes or how fast you rise, right? Real success is not defined by that, right? So I've got to discover that real success is defined by consistency, by character, and alignment with purpose, really. So
yeah, and I like the way you put it. Yeah, go ahead.
And just to conclude, real purpose can't be found on the timeline, really. Real purpose can't be found on the timeline, right?
Social media timeline, yeah.
It can't be found on the timeline. Right. So you really we need to stop chasing clouds and start seeking calling. Well, if we don't, until we stop chasing clout and start seeking calling, we'll just keep running in circles. Yeah, right. We just keep circling in circles. And permit me to bring in God into this conversation, right? The streets may shout loud. The streets that we are in Lagos may shout loud, but only God speaks the truth. Only God speaks the truth. And sometimes His voice is always a still small voice. Right. And if we listen carefully to our inner voice, to the voice of God, it will always saves us from crashing.
Come on now, that's a lot of well-packed intro already. that can be enough take-home for people that have watched so far. But I also liked the way you emphasized how the social media timeline is not a replica of success, not what defines success. And when we think about life in Lagos, obviously, like when we're growing up, I feel like we learned a little bit of patience. We learned how, okay, you put in some work and then with time but it looks like today, somebody in his teenage years or early 20s is already feeling depressed because he has not made it, because he has seen his friends splurging on his girlfriend on her birthday, and he cannot afford that yet. It's an unnecessary pressure, from stuff like that. And it's really crazy in our days. And somehow we don't want to discount them. We don't want to make them feel like, that's the peculiarity of their age and their time.
Yeah.
But yet, how would you advise a guy in that situation to handle such a pressure?
Okay, so yes, we need to work. Yes, we need to succeed. We need to hustle. But honestly, the hustling is beginning to feel like a slavery for a lot of people, right? So, I mean, I would start with saying that you need to first of all know your purpose, and then you need to have clarity, right? You need to have clarity, right? If not, you're going to be exhausted. You need to have clarity. You know, personally, there was a time that I was juggling multiple things as a young guy, burning the midline candle at both end and convincing myself that it was all progress. But deep down, I was empty, exhausted mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and that's what's going to happen when there's pressure. That's what's going to happen. But what I've learned is why I started with you need clarity of purposes. Hustle without clarity is chaos. Is chaos, really. If you don't have clarity, right, it's chaos. Because not every opportunity is yours, really, and not every open door leads to peace, right? So, I mean, how to undo the pressure is to first of all sit down, take a step back, understand, have a clarity of purpose, right? Understand that every one of us in life have individual purpose. Then we need to stop comparing ourselves with ourselves. You know, that's a very big factor that is killing people. Look at this person is doing well for himself. You need to look at this person is doing well for himself. We need to, first of all, have clarity of purpose, stop comparing ourselves with ourselves, then understand your own personal timing, because in life, we all have personal timing. You might achieve something in 20, I might achieve that thing in 25. There are some things you might achieve in 21, somebody else might achieve in 30, right? So we all have different timings. It is not a race, it is a marathon. It is not a race, it is a marathon. Exactly. So you need to take it step by step, step, right? So we need to take it step by step, and then always understand the God factor in all of this, because I've also discovered that without God, there is so much that we can do as humans. I like to say that most of the time that the spiritual controls the physical most of the times, right? So I was listening to Gaze Baba, and that's on God and science, and he mentioned 4 things. He said there was a time we existed before we were born, so he called it the pre-womb. Yeah. Then there's another segment he called the womb, when we're in the womb. Then there's another segment he called this earth, now that we're in this earth, right? Then there's another point now called after earth. Those are the 4 things he split it into. So what a lot of people know now is what we are now on this earth. But for you to know what you are now on this earth, you need to know what you were before you came to this earth. Because when you know what you were before you came to this earth, which is the spirit being of man, because we as humans, we are spirit beings. If you know what we were before we came on this earth, that would guide and define how you're going to act and what you're going to achieve on this earth. So, I mean, you can't take away the God factor, and God is not just interested in the results; He's interested in our soul, right? So now what I do is, as a person, just what I do is, before I start running, I pray. Yeah. Before I say yes to anything, I ask God for direction. Right. So I just try to calm down. Another thing is, and I really want to mention here, especially for men, is the ability to rest. Just rest. Just calm down and just relax and rest. Rest is not laziness, right? You don't have to run. Rest is not laziness. It's a weapon. Yeah, it is a weapon. Rest is not waste, because it's when you rest, your brain is calm. That's when you can actually think rightly. So it is a weapon. Yeah, and peace of mind is really not optional, because we all need that peace of mind, right? So we just need to calm down amidst all of these things and also trust God leading for our lives.
Thank you very much. That's also rich.
Too much.
No, it's good. It's good. You know, but now I want us to now continue this conversation, picturing as if we are speaking to a young boy who has come out of secondary school, who is in university. You know, let's think about it like a younger brother, because I believe these are the people that are in their formative years and will need some of all these lessons that we are indirectly mentoring through this conversation. You know, a lot of people think that success is defined by, and the way social media paints it, by how many babes that you have, based off how the so-called celebrities are presenting it today. It's defined. They feel like it's defined by the luxurious cars that you have. That's why a lot of people, or how much money you have. So that's why a lot of young boys will kill to have a lot of money by wrong means, Yahoo, all those sort of things. People are going into gambling, and gambling is like the order of the day these days. So because they believe money is the definition of success, or having women is the definition of success, or materialism is the definition of success, and that's why Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. That's why a lot of these ones are falling into a lot of traps. So now they will not come and ask you. If you tell them that money is not the definition of success, I'm sure they'll be wondering, so what's the definition of success, right? So do you want to share from your perspective, what is that definition of success for a man? If it's not money, if it's not women, if it's not number of cars you have, if you get what I'm saying. So what do you think is it would be the right definition? What's success? What's the definition of success?
See, success, and this is speaking generally now to men of all stratas, even from the young boy. The Bible says God created man in his own image, right? So as a man, as a young boy growing up, really, success for a man is becoming everything God created him to be. That's success for a man. So with integrity, peace, purpose, and impact, right? While staying true to his values, his faith, and his assignments, right? That is what success is. That's the true definition of success. And I think that's what success is for a man. Let me break it down. I know you mentioned a lot of things around Instagram, likes.
Yes, women, money.
Really, let me break these things down. Success is becoming, not achieving. We confuse achieving with becoming. See, success is not just about what you do. It is about who you are becoming.
I like that.
It's about who you are becoming. So it's about growth, it's about maturity, and it's about character. So becoming a man who is wise, strong, and grounded, that is what success is. That's what success is. Now, number two, success is in alignment with God's purpose.
Right.
Success is in alignment with God's purpose because you were made by God on purpose and for a purpose. You were made by God on purpose. God deliberately created you and for a purpose. So if you miss that purpose, why God created you, even if you gain money, fame, or applause, it's still not success. If you miss your purpose, it's still not success. So obedience to God's call is the highest form of success.
Right.
Obedience to God's call is the highest form of success. Then again, I try to define success again as living with integrity. I know I'm mentioning integrity because in this society, because people want to achieve and they don't want to become, they are ready to do anything to go all out at all lengths to achieve whatever they want to achieve. And that is why I started by saying success is becoming and not achieving. Because success without character is failure in disguise.
Right.
Success without character is failure in disguise. So a man who lies, who cheats, or manipulates his way to the top, it's termed as success, right? But that man has not succeeded.
Right.
Any man who lies, who cheats, which are basically characteristics that you most likely find with men in the geography we're talking about, essentially in Lagos. But that's not success. A successful man can look in the mirror. A successful man can look in the mirror and then respect the man that is staring back at him. So can you look in the mirror and then as you're seeing yourself, you respect yourself and say, okay, I am happy for the kind of man that I have become, not achieved. Right. A lot of people have achieved a lot of things, but they are not still satisfied. They are not still satisfied. They still keep chasing and chasing, right? So, I mean, all of these things put together is what success is. Protecting your peace of mind. I mean, what's good is wealth if your heart is restless, right? So success also includes peace of mind, emotional stability, clean conscience. Really, peace is true luxury. You see, a lot of big men, running from pillar to post. Today you are in EFCC, tomorrow you are in police custody. Despite all they've achieved, some people have rose to the level of being governors. Some great men of institutions, but they don't have peace of mind despite the luxury, right? So, I mean, success peace is the luxury. Success is not just about what you collect.
Right.
Success is not just about what you collect. It's about what you contribute. I don't know why I'm just having all these kind of things. Because I'm just looking back, right? Success is not about what you collect. Because a lot of people just want to amass. And speaking specifically to the Nigerian demographic, right? A lot of people just want to amass, and I don't blame young people sometimes. It's because of what they see in the older generation, right? You see a man that has millions and is still fighting to get millions and still wants to get millions. At the end of the day, the man dies. They can't even trace his wealth. He can't use his wealth for anything. So these are one of the issues that have, eating down to the roots of the younger generation. Success, we need to begin to because we need to begin to say these things to clearly define what real success is. So success is not just about what you collect, it's about what you contribute. A successful man leaves people better than he met them. So a successful man serves. He mentors, he provides, he protects, and most importantly, he builds,
Wow, that's
lastly, what I like to emphasize is faithfulness over fame. Faithfulness over fame, yeah. A lot of people just want the fame, just want to be famous, but faithfulness over fame, because in the end, really, it's not how loud your name is that matters in the end. In the end, it's not how loud your name is that matters. It is how faithful you were with what God gave you. It is how faithful you were with what God gave you. So, at the end of life, we are going to hear, well done, good and faithful servants. That is the crown of real success. So, and that is speaking to the afterlife now. So, the crown of real success is faithfulness. When you get to heaven and you hear, well done, that good and faithful servant, it's not everybody that, some people get to heaven, but it's not everybody that gets to heaven that will hear, well done, that good and faithful servant.
Right.
It's not everybody, because people will get to heaven, just give your life to Christ and all of that. But giving your life to Christ is one. Living and working in purpose, that's the original design why you were brought to this earth, is another, is the second layer of it, because that is where you're going to hear, well done, that good and faithful servant, welcome into the church of the Lord. Success is faithfulness over fame, and I really wish that the young men, the young boys, even in secondary school, can really listen to this and just imbibe some of these principles, so that we can begin to what's the word now? We can begin to
have more successful
men, and then try to demystify some of these wrong societal values that people have started to imbibe and people are taking to see even on the internet as real success.
Oh, thank you very much. That was very, very robust. And I was to the young man out there, like Samuel has said, success is aligning with God's plan for your life. And there's something that was God, you're not here by accident. God created you, and because he created you, he has a plan, whether irrespective of how you came to this earth. So it's about aligning with God's purpose. Secondly, success is not what you are achieving. Success is who you are becoming. And that's very profound, because you see a lot of examples out there, politicians, you become the president, you become a governor, you become this or that. But you cannot really be a role model to even the young man, because of the value system, because of the character skills that you have developed along the way that are not pleasant, to the society and all that. So it's about who you are becoming. How about you become a positively influential person to millions of people and buying the best car in the world, which is more reasonable. So it's definitely, I agree with that definition. Success is about who you are becoming than about what you're achieving. Thank you very much, Samuel, for this. And talking about who you are becoming, right? What does it mean to become a whole man? Like a man that is all-rounder, because now we have a conference that is coming up called the Wholeman Conference, which started last year, and we have another edition on the 14th of June, right? And it's the Wholeman Conference, and the theme of this one is titled Emergence. What does it mean to be a whole man? Because you said success is about becoming, right? So how do you become a whole man?
Okay, so becoming a whole man isn't about perfection, really, because let's face it now, the system is broken, the economy is hard, social media is loud. Many of us are dealing with trauma, pressure, unspoken battles, and in the middle of this chaos, we want to become men. Yes. But wholeness does not come from blowing on boiling. Wholeness comes from healing. Wholeness comes from being honest and from surrendering to higher wisdom, really. So becoming a whole man isn't about perfection. It's about being anchored. Yeah, I'll explain. Becoming a woman, it's about being anchored, really.
Okay.
So it is having integrity when no one is watching. Yeah. It is choosing healing over hustling. It is
healing over hustling.
Yes. It is faith over fear. That's what being a woman is. And being a woman is choosing purpose over pressure. Which takes us back to where we started from.
Right.
Becoming a woman, it's all of these things I just mentioned. It's choosing purpose over pressure, right? So wholeness in itself means you allow God to lead the process. You allow God to lead the process. I mean, the society is broken, and we live in a society as we live in a broken society. We bring ourselves to Him and saying, God, I don't have it all figured out. We don't have it all figured out, but I trust you. The moment you say I trust God, that is when the real transformation begins. Right. That's when the real transformation begins. So really, God is not just part of the journey. God is the journey. God is not just part of the journey. God is the journey. Because it is when you walk with God, when you walk with Him, you don't just become successful, you become whole. You don't just become successful, you become whole. So I think that is what I think becoming a whole man is all about.
Wow, great stuff, great stuff. You said to be successful is not just about what you're achieving, it's about who you are becoming. And who are you becoming? You're trying to become a whole man. And from everything I've heard you say, Samuel, you literally highlighted some values, like a value system, just having the right set of values. That's what makes you a whole man, makes you whole, whether financially, socially. When you have those right set of values, it sets you up for success.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. And so where's the better place to come and learn about the right values that can make anyone a whole man and that can set anybody up for success? Where is that place right now? Where is that event to attend? Where is that program to attend? Do you want to tell us about it?
Oh yes, definitely. The place is no other place than Emergence. So the MerryMen is organizing a Wholeman Conference. This is our second edition. The first edition was Angulation, but the second edition of the MerryMen Conference, which will be happening on the 14th of June at Snug Banquet Hall in Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria, is tagged Emergence, right? So if you are feeling the weight of pressure from hustle, from expectation, from trying to become, then this conference is for you. And really, the conference is not just a hype. This conference is a space where we are going to drop the marks as men. We will find clarity, and then we'll rise as men who are grounded in truth. And really, you don't need to be perfect to show up. You just need to be willing to grow, willing to be challenged, willing to discover your identity beyond the noise, and most importantly, to reconnect with God who made you for more. So I'm inviting all who are willing to join us for this conference. Yeah, we are not just chasing money. We are chasing meaning. We are not chasing money. This conference, we are chasing meaning. We are not just building careers. Of course, we're going to be talking about careers, but we are going to be building characters in this conference. And of course, we are not doing it alone. We have lineup of speakers who will be doing it with us. Gaze Baba would also be talking to us. And if you've been following his Black Flame show, you will know that he's really loaded. You have Pastor Tobin Nadozie, and then you have a panel set up for a marriage panel. You have the likes of Sondia Nani on that panel, and then you also have the one for career, where you have also great guys on that career from across different industries. They'll be joining us on the panel. So I want to invite everyone to join us. Let's become whole together at this year's conference, tagged Emergence 2025, which is the second edition of the Wholeman Conference, organized by the MerryMen clan.
Oh, thank you very much. And so if you're a young man out there, Samuel has said it all. You are a young man, whether in your teenage years, whether you're early 20s, you're in the university, or you're out of university, you're job hunting, or you're a working professional. As long as you're a young man, we are inviting you to the Wholeman Conference and the steamed Emergence. And just we've given you a little bit of expo in this conversation. How do you emerge into becoming a woman as against just achieving? How do you become a woman that is good, that is successful all rounder? What are the value systems that you need to imbibe? So you need to join us 9 a.m. on Saturday, June the 14th, 2025 in Yaba, Lagos at Snug Banquet Hall. I want you to invite your friends, share this video with your young man. If you're a lady watching this, share it with your younger brother, share it with your brother, whoever it is, and let them come down here, learn the right values to become a woman. Let's be a woman together. So Samuel, is there any final words you want to share before as we round up this conversation?
I went by saying that becoming a woman is becoming a man that heaven can trust, people can follow, and the world cannot break. And
let's do that again.
Becoming a woman is becoming a man that heaven can trust, right? People can follow, and the world cannot break. Right? So
come on now.
And I want people out there to understand that it's a journey, it is not a destination, and you don't have to be perfect. No, you don't have to be perfect, but you must be willing to grow, to unlearn, to submit, to become.
Interesting. Yeah, Samuel has said it all. He said, oh, you want to learn more, you want to hear more inspiring things like this to put you on the right track. If you feel like you're already on the wrong track, you want to come back on the right track, come and hear more of this at the Wholeman Conference themed Emergence. We want to see you there. And thank you for watching this podcast. We want you to share it with your friends, share it with your brothers, share it with the men in your life, and share it with your colleagues, wherever you're at. We want you to also like this video and subscribe to our channel. And yeah, thank you once again. I will see you in our next episode. In fact, see you at the Emergence Conference. All right. Thank you very much, Samuel. Thanks for joining me on today's conversation.
Yeah.
I'll be lovely. Yeah. All right. Bye.